We are live on the Power Chat series for the Memphis Open with promoter Joey Perry. Joey, how are you doing today?
I am outstanding. How are you, ma'am?
Great. I'm excited to talk about the next big event that people are going to want to get to. It's the Memphis Open, so mark your calendars. Here you can see it on your screen, February 16th and 17th, obviously in Memphis, Tennessee. How are you feeling about it? It's just a few weeks away, a couple weeks away.
Yeah, and for me, this is since really this is what I do for a living with Promac, and there's an event every other weekend. It seems like, and now we're in full swing because we also help so much with the NASCA tour. So there's a lot of those, whether they're on Promac or not, that we're going to and working. So like it just seems like they all roll together. For a lot of promoters, I guess, if they just have the one tournament a year, they also have to go support other tournaments, obviously. So everyone's busy and travels, but I don't know, maybe 30 plus dates this year. So it hits me really quickly, so that's how it feels. Is that like, it's like, didn't we just do one? But it was somebody else's, right? But Memphis, I've been looking forward to this for like really since last year. And last year was such a year of growth, and it just exploded. I mean, we expected growth, we expected it to do well. It's been very consistently doing well and growing, and the quality of competitors and the quality of new people in schools from the region that are driving in and attending, that have all of the highlights I'm sure we'll talk about during this. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. We're doing things a little differently this year. I know we'll talk about the schedule, and we've expanded to Friday night events, actual competition, not just a seminar and certifications, but all those things I know we'll talk about. But we're excited to do that. We're excited to expand it a little bit and kind of continue to grow it one step at a time.
The Memphis Open, how long has it been going on?
Since 2018, the
Wow.
event was, yeah, it came in on technically the second year of Promac. I was part of the origination of Promac that original year, with all the greats we talk about all the time: Ronnie Presley, Eric Rudolph, the Ruth team in the beginning, Jason Warren, and a few others. And we did Arkansas Open, my other major event was on that, and we had talked that year about launching something, more in the central part of the country as we continue to grow. And I'd always had a big interest in Memphis. I only lived an hour away from there, knew the city. A lot of the team was from that area. Actually, Jason Warren and Ronnie Presley originally from the Memphis area before they went to the Nashville area. So we all had a lot of love for the area. I've got a lot of friends that have studios in the region, a lot of people that I've met throughout the circuits along the years, over 30 years of doing this, from the region. So I knew that Memphis was a great area. It could support a really great event. A lot of people talked about it being so easy to get to, travel into, more centralized, and thought we'd have support. So we launched that in 2018.
Awesome. I mean, 2018 is relatively young in the kind of sphere of how long
Yeah.
you've been promoting, but it just
Yes.
feels like the Memphis Open has been around for a while. You know, those some of those tournaments you just feel like have been there for a while. This
Right.
one is one of them, and let's talk about. So on the flyer here, you got some of your events, but the Grand Champion Awards is going to
Yeah.
be the next slide. Memphis is known for some amazing music, and it's only right
Yes.
that you're awards are in line with that. Tell me more about the inspiration and just making and deciding, finalizing it.
Yeah, right on. I mean, you hit it. I mean, Memphis is super famous all around the world. I mean, people argue all the time. I heard, kind of along the way, one of the things I heard is that you can get into an argument with people about what country is the greatest or what country around the world has given, the largest contribution to society or pop culture, and people can argue all these things. But United States and specifically the Memphis area can kind of always win that because we just say Elvis, and it pretty much ends like, okay, Elvis, because he transcends so much, and music transcends. So everyone can agree, no matter what style of music you like, um, that music does help, in a lot of ways, and it helps you to feel good. It helps push you through moments. It helps, captivate you in a certain moment, or you remember moments, you remember situations, you remember how you feel. And a lot of that has to do with the music that was in the background, or the music that was in a movie, or something that had to do with that. And it's just human nature. We can't help it, and it's about that emotion and how you feel. So Memphis is an area where you've got soul, you've got, home like BB King, you've got Elvis, you have huge recording studios off of Bill Street and through downtown that are historic, that people like Johnny Cash have been to and recorded. Elvis recorded there, and it has such huge history all the way up through, even not really on a musical note, but talking about emotion and reasons that Memphis is important, or interesting to visit or come see. Because if you're going to spend the money, you're going to spend the time to come to Memphis that weekend or any weekend, what would you do, right? What are the things that draws that? So in addition to the music, I think you've got certain things like the historic museums, the MLK Museum and everything that happened with Dr. Martin Luther King there, and the history behind that. So it's a really cool region, and not to mention the food is amazing.
Yeah, I have a coworker that just raves about Memphis. He came here. This Memphis was his last job. Talks about how the food just does not compare, the culture does not compare, and he just cannot say anything bad really about the place. So I'm excited to see
Potholes.
all the photographs that people post, because there's always the pictures at the tournament, and then there's the pictures of everybody hanging out
That's right.
afterwards. Awesome. So let's go into the next question people might want to have answered. Team, coach, or owner discounts available. Registration is
Yes.
now open, people. So you can get your registration in and done early. But you can also have a discount if you're coming as a group, right? How do people do that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I have a few teams that have emailed me over the weekend that I'm getting out codes to this week, because we have tiers with the tournament. It's grown. So we actually only have a couple of pricing tiers. So to talk about, team discounts and registration kind of all in one there.
Mhm.
With the tournament, we don't do, a different one every month. But it's also not just show up and register at the door either. We really highly recommend you and prefer you to register early. We do shut off registration that, on the weekend when we're there, when there's a certain time that the front desk shuts down. You've got to register before then if you need extra help on those days. But we have all those times posted. But you can still register all the way up through the time of the event, but we prefer you to do that earlier. If you're bringing your studio, if it's your first time, or maybe even if you've been before but you didn't really pay attention to that, yeah, this graphic that's up right now, if you've got a team or studio, shoot me an email. The email is right there on the graphic. You can reach me everywhere, and sometimes I'm slow to respond, spinning the different place. But if you reach out and you say you're bringing a team, there's a certain team discount, and then depending on how many you're bringing, you could also capture a hotel room for Friday night. So we love to do that. I know that there's different conversations about promoters doing things or taking care of people coming in, that type of thing. It's really not about, as a competitor, because I competed and I traveled, so much as a younger competitor. And, you get to a point either on a team sponsorship, or if you won grand championship last year at a certain event, then they might give you a complimentary entry fee the next year. Certain little things like that might come your way. But as a bigger picture, as a team owner, you can't do that for all of your competitors, right? So it
Mhm.
helps if you're bringing a group, let us know so you can get a good discount. You can share with everyone across the board, whether they're new or not. And if you've got a large group again, then we stack and we try to help you out. You're bringing a big team of people. We want to give you a hotel room, or we want to make sure you've got lunch, or if you've got volunteers, even from the scorekeeper point of view. A lot of people say, well, I can't judge, I can't do the certification. Well, first of all, everybody can do the certification. So you mentioned that, and we might
Mhm.
even come back to that. But you could also help scorekeep, whether it be just for Friday night or Saturday, or in the morning. We can block that time. You could be by your child's ring or by a competitor's ring. So we're still looking for a few more volunteers, and we could always use the extra volunteers on the list. We never have enough, right? You've competed, your whole life. We
Yeah.
always need extra help.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So speaking of, let's see, certifications, that's the next one.
Cool.
Anybody can do it, but part of this is what you've been really striving for one aspect of ProMac is to give people the reliability that their judges will be knowledgeable across the board, and certified. So if people want to be a part of that, how can they?
Thank you for asking. That's something that we're putting out this week, and we've actually got all of the updated certification dates for the spring through early summer coming out on the website this week, as that's getting adjusted, and some other dates for some other events being adjusted on the promackarate.com site. But getting registered and doing certification is super simple as far as the process. We're hoping to expand with a few more online videos and online things with that this year. We've been hesitant to do that for different reasons, but we've had enough requests to expand that portion of it. We've had a lot of success over the last few years, like you mentioned. It growing. It's not just an association. It's not just a certain state. It's people from all over the country. It's people from any background. Parents can get certified at level one. Someone that's just a coach that is a green belt that wants to be certified at level one, ages 15 and above, can all do that. And we hope that helps spread the knowledge. It helps spread the information, what the rules are, what the procedures are. The more people that know what it is, the better the sport is, the easier it is. Because if you're standing on the sideline and you're watching, and somebody beside you kind of doesn't know the rule, but they're really passionate about that, and they say something, it's like, oh, that's not the rule, or he shouldn't do that. And then you just feed into that, and then all of a sudden 7 people are adamant that something was wrong, and really it wasn't. Or the opposite might happen, so the more people that know what the rules are, and the procedures are, the better. And it helps the officials, because now we've seen, there's always been officials training. There's always been groups since I was a kid coming up through sport martial arts. You've seen old groups like Crane up in the Northeast, and different groups way even back, like RSKC through the Mid South, that would do versions of officials training. And then even when, 20 years ago coming up, I was part of some of those, and it wasn't much, it was a little bit. It's really like a glorified black belt meeting, So
Right.
what we've done over the years is not make it too complicated,
Mhm.
because we want to hit that in steps. We want to keep making it more involved, keep making it more, it's organically, it's growing anyway, but just by itself, because it's quality information. So all of our seminars are like glorified black belt meetings, but then we take and we do physical, we do demonstrations, we show, and it's nothing complicated. Again, it has to be something that, if think about it, your mom taking you to tournaments your whole life,
Mhm.
if she wasn't a black belt or wasn't, physically involved, but wanted to do that and wanted to be certified, she could take that class, not be intimidated by the physicality of it, because she doesn't have to physically, know karate, but
Mhm.
has to have a love and a passion and understanding for it, and be willing to know what that is. So we make it so those people can participate and help. And then if they want to score keep, or they want to set in and help with maybe some of the younger divisions, they can do that and a quality time, especially with the underbelt groupings. And then we have juniors 15 to 17. If they're black belts, we prefer the black belt for the juniors coming in 15 to 17, but underbelts can do that as well, because we allow that. And depending on their level and depending on their experience, they're either just sitting in beside the judges and learning, kind of a internship, if you will.
Mhm.
And then if they have had enough hours and they are a full level one and they are doing well, then we can put them in for one of the 9 and under divisions. And again, we look at the quality of how their experience and how many tournaments they've had. And I keep up with all that. I'm a big nerd. That's part of my job. So that's also different. Having me, look over everybody, see how everyone's doing. Sometimes you're at a tournament and, certain people do better in certain divisions judging. They have a talent for fighting, judging, or in forms or weapons or underbelts or little kids or adults. Some people don't need to judge certain divisions. So as a coordinator and a judging and an official trainer, I get an insight on a huge list of officials and get to watch them. And I have a huge passion for officiating, and I love officiating and judging and working. So I think that translates to our program growing over the years that way. So we hope to expand it in other ways we haven't done yet, but right now it keeps growing because of all of those things.
I think when you think about a circuit, it's like having a standardized language that everybody can sort of communicate on, and the best sort of communities have that way of communication. So
That's right.
there's not a barrier. People are looking at each other in different ways. So that's really awesome. That just honestly, the more people, even if it's somebody on the side of the ring, not in the ring, knows the language of the circuit, then
Right.
it's just so much smoother.
Education is key.
So I'm gonna actually hide this one right here. Let's talk
Okay.
about the schedule that we wanted to touch on. That's
Okay.
also very important. Talk to me about the schedule.
Okay. Schedule wise, again, we try to simplify that. So if you look at this graphic that's up now, or if you look at the graphic later, or even what we hand out at the event will be much like this for everyone. That way it's very clear. This is not a ring assignment. It's just simply an overall general schedule, which we think is a little clearer for everyone. They'll get ring assignments when they're on site and also on their phone through Mad Action. So this graphic is just general. So on Friday, there on the left, we start with the seminars in the afternoon and the certification. So 4 o'clock p.m. kicks that off on Friday. We'll be doing the certification we've been talking about. That happens at that time. So if you're coming in for certification, you're coming in to judge, get there by 4 o'clock. You can jump into the class there and do that. If you can't make it there, that and you are an official, which I get a few messages with that, we'll have other opportunities for you, but that's when that's taking place, along with Sophia. We haven't mentioned Sophia Rodriguez Flores, her seminar happening on Friday. She was here last year. That's free for the competitors up to the first 60 that register for that. They just have to put it in their cart in Mad Action. Just add it as a thing. It's absolutely free.
Cool.
And it's great because she's basically offered that as a promoter. I take care of her and make sure she's taken care of and everything, because it's an amazing way of giving value that she's doing. Coming in, her mom comes in with her, and she'll also compete. And I don't know if she's going to compete this year. I think she is, but she competed last year as well. But her seminar was a huge hit. All the parents loved it. How she treated the students, how
She's
she
such
was
a
able to
kind
talk.
person, you know? She's so kind, so nice, and
Yes.
so talented. And she's also sort of at that age where she's obviously at such a high level, but can connect with people of all
Right.
ages. So that's exciting.
Hey, it is exciting. She's very well put together with that. So the whole family, they do a great job, very positive. And on that note, we haven't let it out yet, but I think this week we've got a new graphic coming out. We'll have a limited edition DGNP T-shirt for the
Oh,
Memphis Open. So it's something that they do. So shout out to them if you don't follow them on YouTube or Instagram or the other social channels, DGNP. So part of what they do on a few events is have a special edition shirt. So we will have our regular premium. We've got these cool soft Memphis Open tees every year, so we'll have a few versions of that, but we'll have a very, very limited group of their shirts. I'm excited for that. So shout out to them.
nice.
So that's happening on Friday, and then as those things finish, we jump right into competition. We will have a certain amount of rings going on Friday. I believe we've got up to 10 rings that we're setting up through the weekend, and most of those will be used both days in competition. Saturday all day long, all 10 rings will be used. Friday night, I think most of the rings will be used for open rank fighting, and open rank is just like open weight fighting, because over the years that term has been used. But the one difference that we do regionally with professional martial arts conferences, open rank allows underbelts to also fight there. So it's just an open weight division, but it's open weight, open rank together. So black belts and underbelts are together in that age group. The one difference is that any of to talk about other ProMac events, is that the events that are on our league that are also part of the NASCO World Tour, like Cowboy Up coming in March, US Open, aka Warrior Cup. Those events have black belt only open weight
Mm,
fighting, but then they'll also offer, as a lot of people had in Chicago and at US Open last year and Cowboy Up last year, we also have an underbelt, like an open rank ProMac division. So it's the same
mm,
thing. It's just at those events, black belt only, and then there's an under level. But at like Memphis Open being 3A, still it doesn't have to follow the World Tour grouping just yet. So what we do as a league now is we changed our open rank fighting so it matches the NASCA World Tour open weight age ranking. So it's more like a 13 and under, and then you've got like your 14 to 17. So if you look at it, it matches that. That happens on Friday night, along with continuous and team fighting in the team divisions listed there. And then when you go into Saturday competition, and again, Friday night, that'll just start there at the 6:15 time and go into it's finished. That those divisions will just go one after another, and be a few
mhm.
hours of competition. And then on Saturday, you see we start in the morning. We have two huge sessions. We'll have the 10 rings. So with the gap, with the time frame, that gives the parents a lot of our feedback on the events that are larger for us is that the parents are enjoying coming in a little later in the morning, unless they have to be there earlier for a sibling or a team or
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, obviously that changes things, but for a lot of the people, especially new people, we found that unless you have like weather, or like last year, with Memphis, where it had the growth on the last week, and we didn't have the room to expand at the last minute, so we had to go much longer in the day. The schedule got thrown off, but thankfully the organization and the team, we were able to. I mean, it was really an amazing thing. But typically, with the way that breaks out, the feedback is that the parents are glad they don't have to get up at 5 in the morning and prep and get the 9-year-old there to compete at 9 o'clock. So that's what we've done. We've flipped it so the older age groups go in the early, and then it goes into the younger age groups later, and that'll be all of the
Yeah.
other divisions. And you can see on the graphic there at the bottom, it tells them the list of, here's the order of events. Here's the extreme and creative divisions, followed by traditional and whatnot, and then the grand championships. This leads to the ending of the schedule talk of, as far as the grand championships happen. The underbelts will be happening during the daytime, kind of like a normal ProMac event. If you've never been to one of the events, at the end of the session, when the divisions are finished, we call for the grands. So it's pretty simple in that nature if you're going to do that. And then the black belt grands will be at the end of the event, kind of similar to what we did at the Revolution, Texas Revolution event. Not quite the same, but similar to that. We'll just have one area there to do black belt grands at the end of the day, and finish the event.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
So I've heard, since I interview also the post show winners, the
Mm-hmm.
people who win the power ring. And last event I spoke with, it was for the Texas Open, and it
Yes.
was with Gerardo, I believe, and his
Yeah.
mom. And she said how much she loved the noon start because Gerardo's a little bit younger.
There you go.
And you know what? Just getting him there was a little bit more relaxed. And so
Yeah.
that really echoed in that interview. So I'm going to
Awesome.
keep the
Yeah. Great.
schedule up here on the
Okay.
screen so people can see it. But also, as we wrap up, people need a place to stay. This is sort of
Yep.
getting down to the nitty gritty logistics. Book your room. In terms of a block rate, is there a block rate, or how can people access?
Yeah, the early rate got gobbled up, and that's my fault, for not noticing the date on getting expanded, and expanding that for the last week and a half. A lot of people have been trying to click that, not go through. So we've asked them to reopen that, and give me a larger grouping. So if you've already booked your room, but you didn't get in on the early block, once they open the new block this week, I'll be posting that. We're very social. We post, so everyone will know. Plus, we're going to email everyone that's from last year and this year already. So if you already booked and you didn't get to take advantage of the early booking price, when the new one's released, you can just book on the new one and then cancel your other one, because it is a good savings. So we want you to do that. We want you to save the money. It'll give us credit, like, yeah, this person stayed. But if you have any trouble, just let us know. Email us. We're happy to help you. But right now, even without that discounted link, you can call the hotel and just book, or you can book online and book your weekend and then change it over if you'd like. But yeah, it's a substantial discount, so we advise you to do that.
Great, awesome.
Yeah.
I love a discount and I love a room
Yes.
rate. So
Yeah,
great.
and the hotel is great. I mean, if you came last year, the previous years, the Sheraton is huge. It's beautiful. The restaurant, the bar downstairs is great, because there's restaurant, plenty of area for all the families. It's great, very family oriented. It's also, adult stuff, beverages too. Great atmosphere. Escalators, elevators, stairs, huge open area. There's a huge seating area downstairs. It feels it's a world tour type feeling hotel venue. It's just it's just like going to it's not like Warrior Cup. Warrior Cup's on another level as an event. But as far as going to the hotel and everything being all in one, and you having all of that there,
Mhm.
it's the same exact experience. So if you've done that, that's what you get there. If you've never been to that, or you've never been to that experience, just as a parent or as an adult coming in, you don't have to worry about your kids or feeding them. All that's there. You can order food right into the lobby easily. A lot of people do that consistently, and there's plenty of area. And then just right down the road is Bill Street and all of downtown Memphis, and a lot of families walk up and down through there and enjoy the music and all the live music and the places to eat and that type of thing. So, and you can check the schedule. I believe there's a show at the Orpheum that weekend, and there may just be a Memphis Grizzly game that weekend as well.
Wow, awesome.
Yep.
I'm so excited for your event, the Memphis Open
Thank you.
coming up February 16th and 17th. Get those registrations in now for people watching. Thanks for
Please.
watching on your lunch break. We actually had a lot of people just stay for this entire thing. So people really want to know and are supporting your Memphis Open. So I can't wait to see the
Awesome.
pictures and the
Thank you
results.
guys. Yeah, we get really cool pictures from the event. You were right. I'm glad you touched on that. Everybody, and there's so many cool things in Memphis,
Yeah, and just they're gonna have their
Oh,
grand champion stuff. It's just gonna be awesome.
it's a lot of fun. We have a really cool vibe, a really cool culture, very positive. And we do have an Elvis impersonator, performer coming in again. We had a touch on that last year, but one of our younger friends, who's a younger performer coming in, Zayden J. So we put that information on our social media, but he'll be there to do pictures and autographs, and who knows, he might even do a performance.
Oh, I love a nice little
Hey,
teaser. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Thanks so much, Joey. And thank you so much for people watching and the support. Make sure you
thank
like
you.
and share.
Absolutely. Thank you. You always do a great job. Thank you.
Okay, we are offline.